Your boss is, the president is, this morning he tweeted, "Don't let the fake media tell you that I have changed my position on the wall. It will get built and help stop drugs, human trafficking, etc." On April the 5th, you said this to the Senate Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs Committee, quote, "It's unlikely that we will build a wall from sea to shining sea." Where do things stand now with the wall? Do you foresee there being a concrete fortification on the southern border of 2,000 plus miles?
Yeah, I foresee there being an increase in physical barrier backed up by the men and women of CVP, Customs and Border Protection, and technology. There are places along the border, and I would offer to you down in the southern Rio Grande Valley, where a concrete wall, makes all the sense in the world for a couple of reasons. One, it is a barrier, and two, it actually reinforces the flood provisions, or the flood
dual purpose.
Dual purpose, yeah. There are other places where a see-through wall, say a large ballad, if you will, fence, makes a lot of sense. There's places probably we won't build a wall because it's across riverbeds. We can't dam up the rivers. And there's other places that are just so rough. You know, the Big Bend area of Texas, canyons, high ground, low ground. You know, very little moves through there, anyways. So we are all still committed to a barrier wall in some places see-through wall. But once again, technology and backed up by CVP. At the end of all of this, I think you have to remember the fact is that huge amounts of drugs, illicit materials, and people come across that border. So a physical barrier, as much as we can get in the right places, makes all the sense in the world. And if you get out on the border and talk to the local law enforcement or the CVP people, I mean, that's where I get that opinion. When I talk to the mayors along the border, the one thing they're concerned about, and they should allay their fears, because they're concerned about normal legal traffic back and forth to include commercial trucking, that kind of thing. President Trump has told me in no uncertain terms that securing the border does not mean an impregnable wall that cannot be penetrated by anything.
A literal wall. Yeah.
So what he has told me is the normal movement of legal people back and forth, and there's millions every day that go north and south along that border. Tens of thousands of trucks, commercial vehicles, and vehicles go across. That will not be slowed down. In fact, if anything, we're working to speed it up.
You and the Attorney General, Jeff Sessions, have highlighted the fact that over these last few months, immigration is down.
Yep.
Crossings are down. Does that take away momentum from this project? In other words, if rhetoric and enforcement of policy is bringing that down, is the case harder to make to build the kind of fortification the President has talked about?
Not in my mind, certainly not in the President's mind. I think right now what we're seeing is a significant reduction in the movement of people for a lot of different reasons I can go into if you want. But the point is, right now that movement is pretty minimal. But there are conditions down in Mexico, which is a very close partner and I would say friend of ours, and certainly in my case, I have great relationships throughout their government, and they're very cooperative with us, as we are with them. But the situation right now calls for a wall, and certainly if conditions change, that wall would be even more important. So just because we're having some initial success doesn't mean that over time a barrier where it makes sense, in whatever that barrier looks like, whether it's concrete or a see-through type wall with technology, with people, it will be necessary.
Is the figure that he's put forward, build this for less than $10 billion, make sense to you as you game this out?
You know, it's tough. I wouldn't disagree with that number, but he's a businessman. He, like me, we've not gotten specific because we don't know yet, because we haven't done the specifics on wall design, what it will take for, to acquire land, that kind of thing. But these estimates of $30–40 billion, I mean, I don't know what it'll cost yet, and the people that are putting that out are just dreaming.